So unfortunately, a lot of the fires that we run, the cause of those fires is a cooking related fire. So we like to use this as a way to educate you guys on different things that you can consider fire safety tips.
They're all set up ready. But yeah, the second leading cause of fire fatalities in South Carolina is cooking, leading and smoking. But the leading number of fires that we go to are cooking related.
Yeah.
Yeah, so smoke alarms, unattended cooking.
Yeah.
Not put water on grease fires, all that. I just at some point while you're talking, I'll give Walker the motion.
Yeah, that's fine.
Got it?
Yeah, I got you. I love my friends. All right, so some other tips when it comes to cooking safety. All right. What happens if you're trying to do some good old deep frying, southern fried stovetop cooking and you catch the grease on fire? Oh snap, what happens? What do? I heard don't use water, right? What would you say, boss?
Yep, baking soda.
Baking soda, all right. So yes, anything that you can use to smother the fire. Please, 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 do not put water on a grease fire. All you're gonna do is make it mad and catch other things on fire. You're gonna spread that grease that's already lit, it's already burning, and it's gonna catch everything else on fire. So we'll see in just a minute when the magic happens, which, wow, it's already started. All right, so we've got a little bit of a grease fire here. Now, is this a manageable fire for you as a civilian to try to put out?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Well, I waited a little bit too long, but as you can tell, we've already got the smoke alarm going off, which means what? What happens when the smoke alarm goes off? I want my kids to answer, not my kids, but somebody else's kids. There's a fire, and that means what? We get out. We don't look back. We don't grab our favorite toy. We don't do anything else but get out of the house. You have a very limited amount of time to get out of a house in the event of a fire. Now, right now, what the most dangerous thing in there is not the fire. What do y'all think the most dangerous thing in that room is right now? The smoke, right? So the smoke produces a poisonous gas that will incapacitate you. And unfortunately, that is what most people die from whenever they die in a house fire, is that carbon monoxide poisoning. So we're going to let this build up for a second or two. Of course, give you guys some of that shock and awe. But if you were trying to get out of your house and you get turned around or you start to get a little bit lightheaded, where in this room right now is the safest place to be? On the floor, as low as you can. I mean, I'm not even joking. You want to put your face in the carpet. Like, this ain't about being pretty. This ain't about being cool. This is about getting yourself out of your house and saving your life. Now, this is a small room, so of course it's going to fill up with smoke a lot better and a lot faster. But if you do have a grease fire on the stove top and it is contained to that stove or to that pan, it is very safe for you to be able to smother with either some baking soda, some salt. Even if you have the lid nearby, you can do that. Don't put your towels or your hand towels on that. All you're doing is adding fuel to that fire, but you want to cover it as best you can to try to get that fire to go out. Now, the thing is, the fire is going to go out and you're going to think it's out, but as soon as you uncover it, if you use a lid, it's going to reignite. Because basically what you're doing is you're smothering it, meaning you take away the oxygen that it's using to burn. So cover it and leave it covered, and do not uncover it until you let it sit for a little while. I would suggest getting a hand protector, holding that pot and taking it outside as best you can. Some other cooking safety tips to remember, because I have small kids myself, is try to keep anything that you're going to be frying or any pots and handles at the back of the stove. So if you do have to use those front burners, turn the handle away or back towards the back of the stove to keep kids from coming up. Because even my 2-year-old right now, she's trying to reach and get different things. She doesn't have a clue what's going on. She's going to accidentally knock one of those pans or pots off, hurt herself, and possibly even catch things on fire. So the smoke alarm that you guys hearing, I encourage you very heavily to reach out to your local fire department if we're not it. Most departments will partner with the American Red Cross, which they're here with us today, and we greatly appreciate wherever they may be. We work very hard to try and provide free smoke alarms for you in your home. We'll come in, we'll evaluate where you need those, but just keep in mind that you need a smoke alarm at least in every bedroom, at least on every floor, and any large living area, so your den area, living space, smoke alarms need to be present. We do recommend that you have them close to the kitchen. We do know that if you have them too close to the stovetop, those accidentally burnt toast will set it off, and all you're going to do is remove it because it gets annoying. But we encourage you to have those smoke alarms present in your home, and as many as you feel safe to put in.
Do they no longer make kitchen-specific smoke alarms that rely less on smoke and more about the increase in temperature?
Another great question here. So do they make kitchen-specific smoke alarms? Yes. If you're willing to purchase those devices, they make all kinds. There are some that I've actually seen recently where it fits inside of like the hood system of your vent. And if it gets hot enough, it will just directly douse whatever's on fire underneath it. They work a little bit differently, but they are a great tool to have. Smoke alarms is a great tool as well to alert you. Another thing to consider as a safety tip, when you are frying or cooking anything, should you leave? Why can't I leave? But I'm tired, I want to go take a nap. Right. If I fall asleep hard. That's my wife. I'm going to take a 2-hour nap, even though I'm in only take 20 minutes. Unattended cooking is a big cause of cooking fires. So always make sure that you stay with whatever it is that you're cooking, especially if you're trying to heat up grease. Most modern stoves have safety features built in to where they will only get so hot, which is a great thing. But our older stovetops that have the those old eyes, I forget the exact term, I apologize, but those just, if you turn those things on high, they're just going to continue to get hot and they won't stop. That's a big issue with the cooking fires, is having those safety features in place. Yes, so
what you're seeing blow off is just quickly sticking the whole house out.
Yes, so it depends on how well your house is what we would call sealed, or how cut off or how open your house is how fast smoke is going to spread. Again, there's been enough smoke from just this little bit of fire produced to fill up your normal sized home. And I would say fill it up basically at the top level. As we know, heat rises, so that's why we tell you to get low in the event of a fire, so that way you stay away from those very toxic flames and the smoke. Another thing that we see a lot of is the type of furniture that you have in your home. Who here has went to IKEA and put together cabinetry or some type of couch, and they love it, right? So that's the new style, which unfortunately is nothing but fuel. If you bought a home in the 1970s or later and it came with the original furniture, it's solid wood, it's built with fibers and materials that aren't specifically made out of petroleum, and they take a lot longer to burn. It looks as if the little chair we have in there is a newer style or a newer made recliner. So I'm kind of sad. I'd like to take it to my house. Yeah. Oh,
Firehouse chair.
Is it broken? Is that one of ours? Golly. I just learned that was one of our chairs from Station 1. Nice. You know how hot we got the thermal layering in there right now? I saw one of my little kids right here running around with a thermal camera. I was curious to see what kind of thermal layering we got. AJ. Thank you, sir. All right, so at the back, where the actual fire is, how hot y'all think it is? Somebody give me a guess. A million? No, it's not a million. 150? Anybody? We got 600. 16, 500. All right. So where the fire is at right now, the fire is registered over 1,000 degrees. Okay. 1,000 degrees. All right, guys, I'm fixing to back up. So at the top right now, where you can see a lot of that fire starting to kind of lip up, is going to be around that same temperature. The floor right now, right there where the entrance is, the floor is just over 300 degrees. So you go from 1,000 degrees down to 300 degrees. That's a huge difference.
I love it.
My bad, bud. So I just heard somebody over here say that that's a lot of smoke. You are right. It is a ton of smoke. That is why we wear self-contained breathing apparatus. As you can tell, our firefighter, Joseph, only had to put a few gallons of water to overcome the thermal layering in that room. That doesn't mean it's still not hot. Heat will remain for quite a while. So right now, we went from up top to being right at 1,000 degrees to where it's just over 100 degrees at the top. So just that little bit of water made that big of a difference in that space to help us be able to get to where we need to go and to find you a lot faster.
How much are you using the heat to do advantage by creating steam?
What was the question?
How much are you using the heat to your advantage by creating steam and making that a very humid environment?
So I like that question. How much were we using the water as an advantage to try to help us put that fire out? So if you notice, whenever he first opened the nozzle, what we did was what we call a fog pattern. So that means that we're trying to let that water help us put out even more fire than what you would think possible. When water turns into steam, just as an example, I know this is technical, but when water turns to steam, it expands 1,700 times, which is impressive in my opinion. But we use that to help us put out even more of the fire a lot quicker than what would be possible if we just went over and simply put the water directly on the fire.